fired up over there.
Welcome in, latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Mike Bratton, who almost didn't show up today, and there's everybody's favorite cousin Shay. What's up, brother?
Hey, boy, what's going on?
Well, tell the cousins, because you told me a couple hours ago, you're like, can't make it. And
yeah.
Wait, well, I give you a pass whenever you do that, because you show up so much. But I also said, well, if he ain't going to show up, why should I?
Yeah, no. We had plans. The youngest, she was going to do some wrestling. She's in wrestling. Yep. And they decided not to send the girls' team to this event, so ours didn't have to. So here I am, man, ready to talk some football, basketball, whatever. But, I'm about to head off to vacation. I felt like I didn't let everybody know yesterday. We're going to be heading down to Orlando for a week. So if you're at the Universal side, you'll probably see me at I'll be one of the events down there. It's like Shane skating on ice or something. But no, I can't wait to see what rides I can't get on, So, but we're also going to have some fun, man. And new segment coming out, Big Cuz does. We got a few things that we're going to be working on down there in Orlando. So be sure to tune in on YouTube, have those notifications on, because it's going to be something you're not expecting. Yeah, and you may enjoy it, you may hate it, but just remember, this is my idea. It's not Mike's, so don't hold it against him.
Yeah, so maybe if you guys got any recommendations, put it in the comments. Email us, that secpodcast@gmail.com. All those get forwarded to Shane.
Yeah.
Michael Riley says Shane needs to do 10 push-ups for every minute late. Well, he was on time, so let's not do that today. Because I ain't doing the push-ups. But you know what I am doing, Shane?
What's that?
Shout out, JR.
Come on, cuz.
JR's back. He just gifted Douglas Drain. Shane Douglas, welcome
to the family.
So, yeah, give Shane some recommendations.
I'm gonna be doing Universal. I know this for sure. Universal.
Yeah.
Of course, City Walk, Disney Springs will be over there. We got something set up over at Raglan's, a little Irish pub. It was real cool. We had a blast there last time. And then I know we're going to do the Gator Farm. So the good Gators, So then we're going to go over there and see those guys, take some photos and videos, and yeah. Pretty excited about it, man, because it was so funny when it started snowing down there. I was like, I'm surprised this isn't the week we're going down. But now that it's kind of warmed up and thawed out, we decided we're going to go to Florida.
Super Bowl week, huh?
Oh, shit. I didn't think about that.
You're going to miss the Super Bowl.
Oh, no, I'll watch it. I mean, there'll be a bar I could get to. That'd be an excuse to get away from the kids for a little bit.
Cousin Benny says, hit like and subscribe to see Shane flash Orlando. Cousin Tony says, hope you bring your wallet. It's an expensive trip down there.
Yeah, it is. It is. So we are accepting donations if you want it.
Hey, so again, I was planning a shorter one, Shane.
Yeah.
What we're going to do, we're probably going to keep it about a half hour, and then we're going to kick it over to really great interview, Matt Hayes, USA Today 1010XL. So still, it'll be roughly the same length. And if you're listening back on audio, nothing's changing. It'll just be one full show. But that was the plan. And I know, the title of the I don't know if you've even seen it, Shane, but it's offensive line snaps, returning production, just like we did last year. So we'll get to that in just a second. But I know you sent me some clips. I honestly didn't have time because I was rushing to do this. But obviously the big game, I'm seeing it in the comments. Arkansas traveling to Kentucky. Our good buddy John Neighbors. Did you see this? I've never seen this. Never in my life, Shane, have I seen this. But it's such a big deal. Yesterday, today's Thursday. But the game's on Saturday.
Yeah.
John Neighbors and company got to Lexington on Wednesday for a Saturday basketball game. I mean, that's how big and hyped this thing is. And now I didn't realize this was such a big deal, Shane, but it was, how should Kentucky fans treat John Calipari? Should they boo his ass? Should they cheer his ass? And old Rick Pitino, he comes out here in a video and says, show your class, Kentucky. I know you're great. Give him a standing ovation. And then I don't know if you saw, Shane, but he posted that online.
Yeah.
And then apparently when Pitino came back to Kentucky as Louisville coach, there's photo evidence, I've seen it, of him walking off, flipping off the fans. So, I mean, talk about class. I mean, that's not the guy to talk about class, is it?
No, it's really not. I mean, and even in that video, he's like, and we're not even friends, you know. So I don't know if maybe he was just instigating, getting the fans rowdy and pumped up, you know, because you got to remember, it's not just him that left Lexington. You know, he didn't leave, I don't think, in good terms, but for every Kentucky fan I say that's disrespected him online, I see another one talks about all the good that they did have while he was there. And, you know, even Rick, as much as I don't like him, you know, he did kind of make sense about some of the talent, some of the, you know, championships that they brought there. But, yeah, I guess it's just up to you, man. You know, I'm for you, against you, whatever. If you want to boo him. If you want to support him, support him. But I think that's just on the personal fan myself, you know. So it's whatever you think.
Well, staying classy there, Shane. I will make it much simpler. Boo his ass! Boo his ass! You know, there's been so much trash between Arkansas and Kentucky. Get it hyped. I don't care. I know he did a good job, but he didn't do a good job last 4 or 5 years. I called his ass out on it. So shout out Razor Bash, Shane. He said, I did some homework for cousin Shane. Orlando's got 2 Cracker Barrels.
Oh, jackpot. Went there today.
And then Geez Louise wants to know, Shane, how many glass syrup bottles does Shane have at his house?
You know, it's funny. My mother-in-law, she collected like the little soaps. You know, you go to a hotel, they give you the complimentary soaps and everything like that. Like, never used them. Always, you know,
Wow.
I guess she brought her own or something like that. And we're going through cleaning some stuff out over at her place, and there's just this huge, just Chester drawer full of just soaps and shampoos and everything like that. So I thought about it, you know, because those are little nice syrup bottles, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to hold on to a few of them.
Yeah, so you're good on soap for the next couple years.
Oh yeah, you know, we were so damn poor growing up, Mike. I want to show you my dad. Funny story. I used to have. Sometimes I have swelling. You've seen it. My eyes swell up, my lips swell up, whatever. I get this out. Oh, I'm cinnamon. Yeah, everybody knows that. Well, apparently I didn't know it when I was younger. It just happened. You know, I didn't know it was because I had a cinnamon Pop-Tart earlier. But anyway, so we had Benadryl all the time, and if it ever happened, that's what I would take. Well, my dad, tightwad dad, decided he was going to make his own shampoo travel bottle, you know. So, and what did he do it out of? A damn Benadryl bottle. So an empty Benadryl bottle, he put shampoo in. So one time I'm having this reaction, and I remember seeing Benadryl in the bathroom for some reason. So I was like, well, I got some Benadryl in there. Well, 1 tablespoon later, man, I was coughing bubbles for about 30 minutes. You know? I was like, damn, Dad, what did you do? So, oh, man. So, yeah, old Dad, he got me there with the old soap in the Benadryl bottle.
Yeah, do not recommend it. You know what?
No, you didn't expect to hear that story today, did you, Mike?
I never heard that. That was a fresh one for me, too. But, hey, let's move on with it, Shane.
Yeah.
SEC offensive line returning snaps. And I think this is such a critically important statistic that, you know, the big uglies, they never get their due.
Yeah.
And they don't have statistics necessarily. And even the statistics that they do have, you know, I'm not even a big fan of, because you don't really know what the play call is. So how can you assign whether a pressure? There's so many things to it. But the one stat you can assign to them is how many snaps they were on the field. Mm-hmm. And so this is what we had last year, if anybody remembers. I'm about to give the updated one. And the reason I'm bringing this up, Shane, is because, again, you know, it's not exactly like the teams at the top are the best and the teams at the bottom are the worst, but it is pretty comparable. And again, if you're just listening back, Texas had 83% of their offensive line snaps returning. They were obviously outstanding. Now, it didn't work for Kentucky. Kentucky was second last year, but I think it worked for LSU for the most part, 75%. Georgia, solid 74%. A&M, 66%. Remember, you know, for half the season, they were a damn near offensive juggernaut. Ole Miss, on and on and on. Now, the teams at the bottom, the dead last was Mississippi State.
Yeah.
They were awful, of course. Oklahoma, we had to hear time and time again about Bo beating Bo and how it don't matter. Well, no, it mattered. I would say Arkansas, though, I thought they were a lot better on the offensive line than I anticipated. And then maybe you could say old mighty Alabama.
Yeah.
Again, 52% was still, that's better than half, obviously, but was the fourth lowest in the SEC. So what would you say overall, just hindsight, looking back, knowing what we know? I mean, this is a pretty valuable statistic, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like you said, if it was the only reason that some of these teams had success, but I felt like it was a big reason. I remember several times talking about, the line of scrimmage for the Longhorns, and especially LSU. We thought they had the best, at times. But
right,
I'm more. I guess the biggest observation for me is just the bottom and just how bad Mississippi State, Oklahoma was, even Arkansas at times. I'm not saying those three. You saw the success in the production. So I don't know. For me, it just felt like if you have the offensive line, if you had at least a little continuity up front, you were able to find success with the offense, and a lot of those teams were able to be two-dimensional, and some of these teams kind of had to rely on one or two players.
Buddy, I'm going to reveal it. Like this is a big surprise, a big reveal or something here. But 2025 SEC offensive line snaps returning for 2025, and this data was some of it's hard to come by. Shane, it's hard to figure out who's back, who's trying to get a waiver, this, that, and the other. And you heard Shane say, "Oof!" I think his eyes immediately went to Tennessee. We'll get to that in a minute, but. Leading the way, far and away, Texas, A&M. Shane, I said I ain't doing it. I ain't hyping up A&M anymore, but these are the statistics that kind of reel me back in. A&M leads the way. 88% of their offensive line snaps returning. And again, this could change. I'll update it if guys get in the portal and all that, but the portal's currently closed. So, man, does that change anything for you for Texas A&M? 88% of the offensive line returning.
Well, yeah, because it's also the quarterback returning. And, that's one of the things with A&M, even though they had, quite a bit of success early in the season, they didn't game one. And this is a team I feel like should have a head start on a lot of the SEC programs just because second-year Elko, second-year offensive coordinator, you're expecting a jump. I think A&M fans will be happy with anything other than 8 wins, So if we can have some success, and I feel like, looking at that Texas A&M 25 schedule, this is a program that, I don't know, by the time we get to Notre Dame, we're talking about a coin toss, maybe even A&M's a favorite, going in. I feel like after those first 2 games, which are cupcake games, in my opinion, A&M, we may be getting on the hot train again.
Well,
I'm not right now.
I ain't doing it. I'm just throwing these stats
this year's
out.
Kentucky? Is that what you're saying?
So, hey, next on the list, how about Auburn, Shade? Another reason I like the Tigers, 86, so just behind A&M. Auburn's 86% offensive line snaps returning, damn near all of them back for Hugh Freeze and company. I know you've been hyping up Auburn.
Yeah.
I have been too. This is a good sign here.
Well, for me, man, it's these next 3 that you're going to talk about. The first 2, not necessarily hot seats, but these are kind of they are hot seats. You've talked about Hugh Freeze not making it if they're not successful. You talked about with Billy Napier, and then, of course, we'll get to Venables here in a second. But there's a lot of things moving for a lot of these programs, but it feels like with Auburn, there's a little bit, I don't want to say relief, but it feels like how the season ended last year, we saw sparks and flashes, and that sparks and flashes was because of the youth on this squad, and then a whole off season coming back. There's a reason for optimism, not just their schedule coming up this year, but the talent that they're bringing back. And I didn't even factor in, you'd think my fat ass would have, but I didn't even factor the offensive line. I'm factoring the talent that they got around it. But, if something that, Jackson didn't have the luxury of last year was time.
Right.
And if he's able to do that, it makes you wonder, what is the ceiling for this program?
Right. There's been many a quarterback, Shane, that didn't look very good.
Yeah.
Then you get them behind a quality offensive line, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
these guys can play. You know what?
Absolutely.
And that's got to give you optimism about Florida. I know you can't wrap your head around this Florida hype. Well, here's a sign of it: 83%, third best in the SEC. So really, A&M, Auburn, and Florida kind of a cut above than anybody, with nearly everyone back on the offensive line in terms of snaps from last year.
Yeah,
this is a big reason for optimism in Gainesville.
Well, yeah, very similar to Auburn too. You got to remember they ended on a winning streak. What'd you say? I think they got the largest SEC winning streak right now in the SEC.
They
if I'm
sure
not
do,
mistaken.
buddy. Four straight.
Yeah, 4 straight. But again, big wins. LSU, Ole Miss, even the Tulane. We talked about that one being obviously they had a lot of kids leave, but it still could have been a trap game for the Florida Gators, and they just absolutely dominated them. And honestly, that should have been an 80-point game. I don't think that was the best game from Florida, but it's the momentum. It's the launch pad to 2025, and having returning production on offensive line, you don't realize how valuable it is until you don't have it. I mean, how many shows last year did we talk about Oklahoma's offensive line? We talked more about the shitty offensive lines out there than we did the good ones. And the fact that you got this parrot kind of with DJ and all the talent they've got around DJ, Florida Gators, yes, they have a daunting schedule, but this is a program I don't think catches fire at the end of the season. I think they start off knocking off them Sharks down there in New York. Was that New York Sharks or some shit?
Long Island Sharks here.
God, we're going to need some Long Islands to watch that damn football game.
Then how about it, Shade? Boomer, 71%. Fourth, night and day different from last year. 15th, Oklahoma was in offensive line returning snaps. This year, 4th, 1%. So this is a heck of a sign. And some optimism. There's not been a ton of optimism for Oklahoma. This is a great sign with a new coordinator, a new quarterback. This is a sign you could protect him. We get the running game going. We just give John Mateer some time, and it could be a completely different story for the Oklahoma Sooners. And again, if big if here, but if Oklahoma can flip the switch on the offensive side of the football, this could be one of the biggest sleepers in the entire conference.
Could be. Yeah, I saw they just signed. They approved him $1.5 million for the next 3 years. So they secured their OC, and Mike, you're so high on these guys. I just love it. I love it because I've been there.
Could be 5-0 easily.
Yeah.
Could be 5-0.
They could win a damn natty next year, baby. So a lot of things could happen, but part of you also wonders, like, returning production. The production that you're referencing is just them being on the football field and not necessarily being a good player. So is the production return a good thing or a bad thing? Sometimes I feel like a new chapter is not a bad situation or, a bad thing to look at. But, yeah, it's optimism time, right?
They look like a great offensive line against Alabama. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, they did. They didn't look horrible against LSU. You may be right. You're right.
I thought they looked good against Missouri too.
Yeah.
It's not their. I guess it somewhat is their fault that the. I was gonna say it's not their fault. Jackson Arnold fumbled the ball, but if he wasn't pressured, maybe he wouldn't have done that.
Am I being too hard on Oklahoma?
I think you are. Come on, time to get all this Boomer Sooner.
I did watch a little more QB highlight reel, and I get it. I get why he's getting people excited up there. So yeah, you're right. Return production, Oklahoma bounce back, put them in the playoffs, baby.
And then we got Alabama 5th, 65%. So again, this is complete night and day. Last year they were the 4th worst or lowest. Now they're the 5th highest returning offensive line snaps. So this possibly a good indication for Caleb DeBoer and company that the offense can take a big step forward in year 2. They still got to figure out who the quarterback is, but this is a good sign. This is a good building block here.
Hey, this is DeBoer's team, and I'm not saying last year was it, but I've heard a comment saying that he likes the attitude in the locker room, So I don't know if that is a reference to what's gone and what's returning, but yeah, I feel like we can truly start judging DeBoer a little more coming into this season. And having that production, there's a lot of people excited about the talent they got at that line of scrimmage, both sides, offensive, defensive front. And Lord knows they got enough recruiting going on. So, yeah, Alabama, I mean, they may bring that damn line back, baby.
Yeah, I love this comment, Shane, from cousin Zach here. He says the right tackle, Pritchard. Yeah. Him leaving's a good thing. He gave up too many sacks.
That's the damn truth, man.
But like players don't get better. You know what I mean? I mean, some of them get really better, but I don't know. That's his comment, not ours. But and then Arkansas, right here. The only this was kind of blew me away too, Shane, because last year I believe there was only 3 teams in the SEC did not return more than 50% of their offensive line snaps. This year, there's only 6 that actually get that done. So Arkansas, you're at 57th. That's 6th best in the SEC. We all know Sam Pittman, a heck of an offensive line coach. They did quite the turnaround last year on the line of scrimmage. Now this is a really good sign, I would think, for Bobby Petrino and Taylor Green going into year 2 together, that if they can protect their quarterback even better than they did last year, that they may be cooking on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah. I like the momentum that this offensive line had. I mean, you got to remember, brother, what was it, 2 years ago? We couldn't wrap our heads around just how bad Sam Pittman's offensive line is.
Right.
I mean, he was getting quarterbacks killed. It was a travesty. And the improvement that we saw throughout the season last year, and they weren't perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say this is, God's greatest offensive line. It wasn't that, but just the improvement that we saw from the year prior to this one, I think that is kind of what stood out to me. And if they can build off those blocks, brother, yeah, I think Taylor Green's going to really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And then, the middle row, Mississippi State, 49%.
Mm-hmm.
Remember last year it was only 4. So that was, my goodness, night and day different right there. Going into year 2, Jeff Lebby, Missouri, 48%. Returning snaps on the offensive line, South Carolina, 44.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, 39. Georgia, 39, which is, that's going to be a question mark. There's the offensive line was a little banged up last season. They lost some key contributors to the NFL, so that's going to be something to see. And LSU at 35%. So again, that middle row, I don't think these are awful numbers. I don't think they're extremely good numbers. LSU's really attacked it in the transfer portal to shore that up. In fact, basically all these teams have. Kentucky has. Yeah. I know all of them essentially have. But kind of the main takeaway from this middle section to me, Shane, is just Mississippi State going from 4% to 49%. Massive improvement there for State, and maybe that'll be a catalyst because hell, they were productive even with only 4%. Maybe that could be a catalyst, but of course they did fire their offensive line coach.
Oh man, and two on this, I guess you would say middle row. I mean, you look at Mizzou, South Carolina. Hell yeah, I mean you could kind of even put Georgia in this one, but definitely LSU. These are teams that have had success, but are looking for that next level.
Yeah,
and. Even Georgia, I felt like they had some success, but Bulldog fans, their expectations are not to get beat by freaking Notre Dame, and
right.
Not being able to run the damn football in Georgia. So they have been very active in the portal, so I'm not freaking out with these numbers, but I do think that this is the row that I think we'll get to that take that next step, and we'll lose to.
And any concern now? Let's focus on the bottom 3 here.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, 31%. Again, they were number 1. That was the key to their team. I know it's
yeah,
Sark gets talked about, the quarterbacks get talked about, but it was, man, that offensive line winning the day more often than not. And quite frankly, the two of the losses to Georgia, it was because they kind of got dominated in that aspect. But the rest of the games, they dominated the opponent.
Yep.
Any concern, particularly facing Ohio State at Ohio State right in the opener, that we only returned 31%, only one starter on the offensive line.
Yeah, mainly for that game. I have no doubt in my mind that Texas will figure it out, and they may have it already humming by August 30th. But, going on the road to the shoe, and, the talk's going to be about Arch Manning, but, there's quarterbacks up front that are identifying, blitzes, and Ohio State was, they were now they'll have a new DC, but they still will be very dynamic up front. They're going to have a lot of NFL talent up front, and that damn offensive line is going to be tested immediately. Talked about throwing into the fire. So, I think returning production should be a concern for that game in particular. But like I said, they got a lot of talent, man. Just because they didn't start doesn't mean they are loaded at the front. And I feel like this is a team, week 2, week 3, they're going to be back and maybe even better. Who knows?
Well, you know what that is, folks? That's him rationalizing Tennessee being just behind him, third lowest, 26%.
Yeah.
Now, this is the only one, Shane, that has a little asterisk. There's literally only one guy. I had to reach out to people around the league that I know to ask them about this guy or that guy. Mm-hmm. But I had the only guy that I don't really know his status is Andre Kuric for Tennessee. He has applied for a waiver, and I'm assuming that he will not be back. Mm-hmm. But if he gets his waiver, he is back, and it'll jump Tennessee's number from 26 to 41. So right behind South Carolina, right above Kentucky, if Andre Kuric is back. So, again, I just wanted to make note of that. But Tennessee's replacing a ton on the offensive line. They're hitting the portal. They added a 5-star true freshman.
Yeah.
How concerned are you about the Vols on the offensive line?
Not just any 5-star freshman, the 5-star freshman. Oh, my gosh. Could you imagine lining up? We got to see him last year. And it just blows my mind. If I'm at high school and I've got to block this bastard, it's like I probably would have quit the sport because this is not fair. So, no, Tennessee, again, let me ask you something here on these numbers. So you're just basing this on starts, or are you basing this on playing time? Because a lot of these teams, they did rotate quite a bit. So they may not got to start, but they did get some playing time.
The only thing this was based on.
Yeah.
Snaps.
Okay.
So, I feel like that's the best way to do it for an offensive lineman.
That's smart. That's
that
smart.
way I'm not counting starts. I'm counting, and a lot of not a lot, but like if you played more than 500 snaps, that's a rarity, right?
Right.
Basically, every SEC team's got 5, unless players got hurt, and then that's the issue there. So, yeah, I have every single offensive lineman in the entire conference, how many snaps they had, and this does not count transfers.
Yeah,
because this is returning production. So again, like I said, all these teams are bringing in, not all, but particularly the ones on the bottom, are bringing guys in via the portal to shore up these deficiencies. But again, that's exactly what Oklahoma was telling us last year. That's what Mississippi State was telling us last year.
Yeah.
We got all these guys through the portal. We're fine. The offensive line is a unique position where you need that chemistry. You need that continuity. It cannot be turned over in a single offseason. I truly don't, not at this level, not in this conference.
Yeah, I am a little worried about that too. Again, I'd be lying if I just said, hey, we'll just replace. I don't think Tennessee's quite at that right now, so damn.
Cousin Benson's ready to clip Shane's rationale on Tennessee.
Here's the thing, man. What can you bring up last year's? Let's find last year. Damn. Yeah, nope, can't rationalize it. Maybe they were bad, Mike. Maybe we needed a new start. Did you see that Ohio State game? Did you see them with their shirts off? That's coming from me, right? One of the biggest nightmares I had is when we went shirts and skins in basketball. Shit, I quit. That's why I never came back. I quit DBA because of that. So do another practice like that. I'm out of here.
And then so Vanderbilt's right there. That was pretty stunning to me, Shane. Only 22%.
Yeah.
They're devastated on their offensive. Now, again, they brought in a bunch of transfers, but I don't know that necessarily immediately translates.
Yeah.
And then Ole Miss, same deal, 21%. The fewest offensive line snaps returning in the entire conference. I know you are over the moon on Ole Miss, Shane. I think you even said early bold take, they make the playoff.
Yeah.
You can change that at any point, but does that... You backing off that at all now that you see this number?
I'm in. And I think the numbers are, they're a little alarming when you look at that, because it's so easy, Mike. We always do it. Hey, we got this guy. You just mentioned it. We got this guy in the portal. We got this guy. We'll be fine. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And that's why it's such a coin toss for teams like Ole Miss, for how much talent they bring in. There's some, when we were looking at this roster going into last year, 24 season, I was like, man, this is the perfect roster. This is exactly how I would build the roster if I was playing college football 25. Right. But it didn't always mesh. Look, there were several games that I still waiting for Juice to jump out. I still kept waiting for some of these stars to do what I thought they would do. And that happens on the front. But then you hit on one. You hit on a guy that comes in and wrecks in the backfield, So I don't know, man. I'm less worried about Ole Miss because I've seen them always be productive. You were talking about one of the most consistent teams in the SEC. So I'm a little less worried about them and I'm a little more worried about Tennessee in that situation.
Yeah, and I would also add, Shade, that based on what I know, Ole Miss was, as they rightly should have been, they were pretty disappointed in their offensive line last year. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of third and shorts, or fourth. Hell, they went for it a ton, and that was something I was very critical on Kiffin last year. Why he would go for it so many fourth downs? I know that's in his DNA. But when the offensive line's not getting any push, when you don't have Judkins anymore, kick a damn field goal, play to the strength of your team, which was actually the defense. But they were not overly thrilled with their offensive linemen, so that should be taken into consideration too. Maybe you weren't happy with your guys. Yeah, I know they let Micah Pettis go. He's going to be a starter now at Florida State.
Yeah.
We all know Florida State's their mixed bag in the transfer portal, but whatever his price was down there at Florida State, I don't think Ole Miss wanted any part of it. So, again, not every subtraction is a huge loss. Shout out, the Cousins saying, "Oh, Bama's right tackle. Thank God he's gone." You know what I mean? So that's out there too. But I do think this is an indicator. I'll tell you that, Shane. If I'm A&M, I'm Auburn, I'm Florida, I'm Oklahoma, I'm pretty fired up by this statistic alone, and that's getting me fired up for next football season, that we're going to be better on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, or at least, close. The game, there was a lot of really good games, quote unquote upsets last season, but there may be more this year because, like you said, some of the teams that you've penciled as a loss has gotten tremendously better, and some of them tremendously better up front.
Right. All right, Shane. So, hey, like I said, I was going to keep it short. Yeah. Going to kick it over to our interview with Matt Hayes, USA Today. But before we do that, buddy, don't forget, the interview is going to be brought to you commercial free. I always hated interviews that have commercials in them. Yeah. We don't do that here. We do the commercial before, Shane. TryJoyMode.com. Shane said he wasn't going to make it. I was like, oh, God, he's cracked open one of them joy modes again. Use promo code SEC at TryJoyMode.com. Get 20% off a single order or 30% off if you sign up for a subscription. And what is this? This is an all-natural supplement, Shane, designed to enhance blood flow and, keep Shane's mic stand standing up there. All you got to do, mix Joy Mode with a glass of water. 45 minutes, you're ready for action. The missus will thank you, Shane. Join the over 200,000 men that have put their trust into Joy Mode to boost their performance without side effects. That's tryjoymode.com. And don't forget, most importantly, that promo code SEC for 20% off your order and 30% off your subscription service. You got any joy to share with us before we log off here?
Oh, we've been going 35, so this thing's about to kick in. I got 10 more minutes, Mike. So, I hope you guys enjoy the interview. I hope you have an awesome Wild weekend because we got some good games, some good basketball games. Who knows? I may still jump on for a Saturday after the ball games because I'm not actually leaving until Sunday. But I'm very interested in that Arkansas-Kentucky matchup just to see how the fans react to that one, see what the outcome is. But also, I got some fun stuff coming to you, or it may be terrible. Like I said, you may absolutely hate it, but just don't blame Mike because, again, it was my idea.
Hey, it's the off season. We got to get creative. You know what?
Exactly. Going to have some fun down there. And if you're in Orlando, want to have a beer, holler at your boy. Because I'm back. I said January, so I'm almost done for the month. So it's been lifted. The beer starts flowing on the 1st.
The embargo's been lifted.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right, man. I was doing good on calories, but I did go to Cracker Barrel today, and unfortunately, Grandpa's country breakfast does have a little calorie in it.
All right, but I don't know a perfect way to end it other than shout out to Cracker Barrel. That's going to do it. Appreciate you as always. Appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.
Hey, buddy, this beer's for you, Mike, and Cousin Shane. That SEC podcast loves the Pirate, and the Pirate loves that SEC podcast. Hail State.
Cousin Tony says this